Call of Duty Black Ops 3 got review bombed, so let's talk about that. We'll chat about it in the comments, but first, my opinion. I'm Tarmack, and this is Feature Creep. Black Ops 3 received passable reviews from media outlets. Overall, it seems to be a recommended game for many. Obviously, review scores are only so useful without taking the rest of the review context into account, but for the most part, it got average scoring among AAA releases in this second half of the best year for gaming we've had in a few. And in line with the vast majority of games in the second half of 2015 getting mid-80s, so did Black Ops 3, I suspect because in general, reviewers found it to be more of the same. For those keeping track, however, Treyarch didn't quite polish the game as well as they had for previous iterations. For the most part, Xbox One and PS4 versions of the game are doing okay, but the PC version has a load of issues, including some game-breaking ones. Gamers are seeing everything from system soft locks, multiplayer lag, game crashes, reasonably occasional system hard locks, and some very odd frame rate drops going from a nice solid 60 down to single digits. Major problems like Arkham Knight, and it's a damn good thing that we've got refunds on Steam so that people can get their money back and maybe rebuy later on when the game is actually fixed. It makes me a little amused thinking back to when I asked for review code and was offered console review code but advised there was no PC review code available. I declined that offer. I've got absolutely no problem with customers crucifying companies over big issues in games. I do it on a regular basis. A well-written review, harsh tweets, forum posts demanding change, emails to the company's support contacts doing the same, Facebook complaints and such are all excellent. What's not excellent, however, in my view, is zero review brigading. I covered this briefly in the news wrap-up on Saturday, but that's not really a good format to get serious with. My comment was regarding people who have never played the game writing reviews that will never be read, which, while harsh, was intended in a more sardonic way. And a lot of this actually matches my views on 0 and 1-star reviews in the general sense. What has happened is an overwhelming brigade of 0 reviews on Metacritic, Amazon, and such, as well as, of course, the much more simplified do not recommend on Steam. I think, in this case, Steam is actually ahead of the pack by using a recommended versus not structure for their reviews. But the odd thing about the brigading is how obvious the intent is to simply punish Treyarch. Why do I say that? Because while the campaign voice acting and such may be fairly lackluster, it's otherwise been reviewed rather well. Unlike the PC version, the console versions do not have the same plethora of extreme issues, and yet you'll find the PS4 and Xbox One sitting extremely low alongside PC for ratings. Of the three, it's only the PC version that has the major issues, so right off the bat, you know that it's a social media brigade, not genuine widespread customer outrage. Here are a couple of the more amusing zeros that I ran across. Zombies is decent. Actually, I really liked the multiplayer until it got stale, but campaign sucks. Bad story. Want a good story in campaign and FPS? Play Halo, not COD. 0 out of 10. Batman Arkham Knight, broken as well, runs on a higher frame rate on a Windows 95 than this port runs on one of the computers from NASA. This is now 150 characters. 0 out of 10. Or a nice single-word review on Steam. Garbage. These are, of course, cherry-picked examples. I acknowledge that. I'm not about to say that there aren't serious issues with the game. What seems obvious to me, however, is the continuing trend in how the internet communities deal with problems. I'll rate their game a 0. That'll show them for ruining the game for me. No, it won't. All it does is make you look like a petulant child. It's the same low-effort activism as retweeting how bad government is or sharing those wonderful and false stories on Facebook. Nonsensical, valueless in nearly every case, makes gamers on the whole look bad, especially when a huge number of these 0 reviews that somehow get voted up by others have the grammatical skills of a dyslexic elephant. And even worse, the superfluous brigade reviews obfuscate the legitimate, well-thought-out reviews that illustrate real issues with the game. Reviews have genuine value when they're taken at least mostly seriously. It doesn't take a lot of effort to pin down your problems with a title, articulate them well, score the game accordingly if that's relevant, and in general make those issues known. However, brigading against a game so far that people are creating brand new accounts just to leave 0 reviews on these various sites for the PC, PS4, and Xbox One versions of the game when only one of the 3 has major issues makes it clear that the only reason you're doing it is out of an overinflated sense of self-worth and what seems to be taking personal offense that the developers screwed up. Call them out on it, sure, but when you get this angry, maybe it's time to take a step back and ponder just how invested in a particular series, or in some cases piece of hardware, that you are. Well aware that this could ruffle some feathers, but such is the life of an opinion. If everyone on the internet always agreed with one another, it would be a boring place. At one time, I actually had planned to do a video series based on seeking out the absolute worst of the worst reviews across the net for games and compiling them into video form. Mostly because some of them are hilarious. So for today, let's chat about proper reviews. Who does them well? Who does them poorly? And what is it in a review that you specifically like to see? Feature Creep is a regular segment on this channel, so if this is your first time around the bend, check out another video or two, and if they don't scare you off, maybe hit that subscribe button. That's all I have to say. Tarmack out.